Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more Blackout news. We hope you guys all enjoy. I do quickly want to apologize for being a couple days late on possibly the biggest update we've seen for Blackout so far. Unfortunately, I was actually out of town. I lost my voice a little bit. Hopefully, we'll be back in the future. Usually, if you guys stop by this channel for Blackout news, it's usually our top 10 countdowns, as well as frequent patches and updates for all of you. And this, as of a couple days ago, it may be our biggest one so far. The first of which, kind of just event-based, kind of surprisingly as well, a couple weeks after Halloween. That's actually the Blight father being dropped into the game of Blackout, guys, for increased rewards as compared to zombies. If you want to look for a spawn just south of Asylum there in the graveyard, he's actually marked by a red beam as compared to by the typical zombie blue beam. So if you guys want to try your best of luck and actually get him, and of course, as in the beta, guys, a lot harder to take down than a typical zombie, but will give you those increased rewards. But on top of that, an underlying kind of, I think, definitely a great update for the future of Blackout players out there, increased player caps. If you remember when the first rumors started about Black Ops 4, the player cap was just 60, and now for solos and duos has been increased from 80 to 88. So a 10% increase right there. Obviously, most of us, when we play solos, duos, squads, we usually see typically 45 to 65 players. Squads maybe a bit higher than that, as we have increases to squads as well. Now 100 player squads have been added to the feature playlist, guys. So great news so far for the future of those bigger games. Will they ever go past 100? Will they ever go past 88? That's of course the underlying question. I don't think there's really a need for it, as like I said before, solos and duos typically never even hit the 80 cap, or never did before. On top of that though, it's just great news. But even more so, we have some minor changes out there, minor tweaks to many weapons out there. The first of which I'll talk about before we get into some gameplay is the removal of the 9-bang grenade. I don't think it's going to be near as big as a controversy as people need to make it out to be. It remains in multiplayer, but will no longer be in the Blackout version. Of course, I think a lot more effective and a lot more frequent in Blackout than it was in multiplayer. Probably the reason why it actually got pulled from the game, and not going to be a part of any of our future gameplay for sure, as they've actually been pushing other nades out there. A slight buff for concussion grenades. You can now throw them a farther distance, as well as stack them in two. So while they take away the 9-bang after a slight nerf last week and now it's completely gone, they are buffing other nades. I expect that in the future as well, as besides them, we still saw some tiny changes all around the board for many weapons. You're going to notice kind of a reoccurring theme here. Not too big of buffs, but definitely buffs, I think, in the right direction. And I understand most of these changes so far. The first of which, all SMGs increased muzzle velocity to make SMGs a little bit stronger in those close range engagements. I'm sure many of you guys are aware many assault rifles were picked up way more than SMGs. Even in the close range, they really just couldn't compete. So I think it's definitely a good update here. The Spitfire even going a bit further, as this recoil was actually slightly reduced. I don't think it's going to be a game changer for many weapons on this list. If you guys do remember, we actually did a top 10 list on here. I think one weapon that maybe received a giant enough buff to actually change our top 10 list maybe was actually the Auger. It did really well in the beta. I'm sure you guys played it as well. It is now increased recenter speed. They actually slightly reduced that, and they have now brought it back. And also on top of that, a slight increased muscle velocity. I do think the Auger will break a top 10 and definitely be more played in the future, but will it be enough, I think, is the real question. Now besides that though, I think the second nicest buff was all across the LMGs that got touched here. Only 3 of them receiving them, and many of you guys know that we do not see LMGs enough in this game. We might see more of the VKM. I think on this list so far, definitely the favorite, alongside the Titan as well as the Hades. They have all now gotten increased recenter speed and also reduced recenter pattern offset. So pretty much with those longer sprays, when you're firing more than 1 to 5 shots, it should be easier to actually pull it back to center and predict those spray patterns. But also, very lastly, some small reductions here, and also some small buffs, I should say. The Rampart 17 saw reductions in its ADS sway, as well as reduction recoil. I don't think it's going to affect anything too much, and I think one of the more minor updates here was actually the Swordfish. It saw a minor buff of a tighter spray pattern as well. So like I said, very small changes, a lot of which are actually around the ADS sway, as well as the reduction recoil to more predict those spray patterns out there. I think a nice buff for LMGs. Again, the Auger, I think the best update so far, and I really do not think the 9-bang being removed is going to affect too much gameplay out there as we approach some bigger events coming out. I know, of course, we have the Code Red tournaments. I really don't count those as the bigger events, but like we saw Doritos Bowl, guys, more events approaching. I cannot wait to see the one man we have yet to see, Dr. Disrespect, actually at a big event. We've seen the increasing, I wouldn't say controversy, drama around him and Shroud. There's many clips out there of Shroud taking down the man himself, that being Dr. Disrespect, and him not doing vice versa back at him. So hope you guys all enjoy. As always, my name is Jake. I cannot wait to cover more Blackout news for all of you guys in the future. As always, enjoy your weekends, guys. Enjoy your weapons balances, and leave a comment down below what weapon you guys think did the best or will do the best after these small updates. Hope you guys all enjoy. I will see y'all next week. See ya.